Remember when Donald Trump won the presidential election back in 2016? For the next 4 years, the Democrats tried to suggest that it was Russian information, disinformation, interference. That's the only reason why he won the presidency. Well, what happens if it's Canada and it's China interfering in our elections? Hello, I'm Adrienne Batra. With me are Jamil Jivani and Brian Lilley. Jamil, let's talk about the explosive story. Kudos to the Globe and Mail for getting their eyeballs on some confidential documents from the Canada's intelligence agency that very clearly showed China interfered in Canada's federal election in 2021 to try to keep Justin Trudeau in office and keep the Conservatives out.
Yeah, I mean, it's important that we have this information because we had been hearing news reports about this over the last year. Certainly, the Chinese Communist Party was not hiding that they preferred Justin Trudeau to Aaron O'Toole in 2021. But now it's just undeniable. I mean, the very intelligence agencies that we rely on for all of our national security concerns are now saying without question in these documents that there is concern over Chinese influence in Canadian elections. What's clear also is that the current government, the Trudeau Liberals, are not concerned enough about this to want to talk about it with the public, to announce any policies, to take any actions. It seems, just to your point, Adrienne, that because they might have something to lose by stopping this, they don't have the same interest in this as you might see from the political left in the US when they want to blame it on an outcome they don't like.
We know, Brian, that China under Xi Jinping has become a lot more brazen, more bold, and far more confident in their spy game activities, just like we saw the balloon just a few short weeks ago. Whether it's scientists in the lab in Manitoba, whether it's in different parts of our academia or even in the private sector, or even some suggestions of law enforcement. This is a big problem. And I'm just giving you the short list, Brian.
And it's a problem that the Trudeau government doesn't want to talk about, as Jamil said, and wants to say, just trust us. Well, just trust us isn't good enough when we're talking about interfering in our election, when you've got China openly campaigning for one party and against another. We heard a while back that it was 11 candidates in the 2019 election had been given illegal donations. The Globe is now reporting that it was 9 Liberal and 2 Conservative candidates who were given those illegal donations in 2019 because they were viewed as more favorable to China's interests than the other candidates. But now we're talking about the 2021 election and consulate officials sending out, using their networks to try and make sure certain candidates are defeated. They didn't like Aaron O'Toole because Aaron O'Toole stood up for Taiwan. He stood up for Hong Kong. Kenny Chiu, one of his MPs, had put forward a private member's bill. Kenny was originally from Hong Kong, spent his adult life in Canada, very concerned about what was going on with the security laws in Hong Kong, spoke out against that, called for a foreign agents registry in this country, something that Australia has used, and it has helped thwart China's interference there to a degree. China didn't want that. So they targeted Kenny Chiu. They targeted Bob Soroya in Markham. They went around and they defeated candidates that might say something against the Communist Party of China and would not be, in line with their thinking. We need to be concerned about that. And the Prime Minister saying, I've seen everything. There's nothing to see here. Move on. That's not good enough.
Well, Jamil, last word to you on this. We know that Justin Trudeau has admired China's basic dictatorship. He's been very soft on any Chinese interference in any capacity in our country and frankly elsewhere. It does put us in a compromised position with our Five Eyes allies, no question about that. Canada's been left out of certain conversations, not just because of our weakness against foreign interference, but just generally speaking, Canada isn't perceived as strong around the world anymore. I'm wondering, from your perspective, do the Conservatives, we are eventually going to have an election when Jagmeet Singh gets the courage to finally defeat Justin Trudeau. But do the Conservatives use this as a platform issue, or is that a risk because there is a large Chinese diaspora in Canada that have big voting blocs and have a lot of influence? How do you see this playing out politically?
Well, I think Conservatives, frankly, all Canadians of all political stripes have to ask a question. Do we have a country or do we not? Do we have a country that has borders that are defended? Do we have a country that has elections with integrity? Do you have an economy that works for the average family? Do we have a country that exists and functions and is healthy and dynamic? Or are we willing to just watch things fall apart around us? And if you believe in Canada and you want Canada to succeed, you have to take these issues seriously. That's the message that I would hope Conservatives would deliver, regardless of what that might mean for, voting blocks. I mean, that is the truth, and it's a truth worth standing up for. And I do think Canadians, even some who might have voted for Trudeau in the past, are going to want to hear that message because Canadians believe in Canada, and it's one of the reasons why ourselves or our ancestors immigrated to this country. We believe in its potential, and these stories are discouraging and alarming, and we need people in the political process to treat these like the priority that they are.
Bottom line, China spied and our politicians lied. Log on to Facebook and Twitter. Let us know what you think, and go to thetorontosun.com and hit that subscribe button. You'll find more coverage on stories like this and others you will not find anywhere else.